guys, and welcome to another Dark Rain video. This time, what I'm doing is I am testing whether or not skill points and statistics are relevant anymore in game. Now, because I've been in and out of the game over the past few months, everybody's continuously telling me that CR is now king, which is entirely understandable, and I see why the developers have gone down this route because it gives the game longevity. In my opinion, it's much easier to amend CR of an enemy and let you meet that CR in order to cause a certain amount of damage against them than it is to continuously increase their health pool, increase yours, increase your statistics as time goes on, etc, etc. And the other thing is, I see a lot of complaints about whether or not a person's enhanced skill points gives them an advantage over anybody else who has a lower amount. So how I plan on go about testing this, it's quite simple really. I will lay down a very specific rotation. I will do it for a certain period of time. I will add up my damage per second per 10-second period. I'll amalgamate all that together, divide it by the amount of rotations I complete within that time period, which will give me an average damage per second that I have caused with that particular skill point spec. Now at the minute, I have exactly 77 skill points equipped with this particular character. Now the reason I've gone for this is by the time you've got to level 30 and got through all of the various endgame content there is, people typically sit on an average of around 70, so they should be able to spec with the maximum number of crit innates and crit chances like I have done here. So what I've done is I've pretty much just ignored statistics and completely removed them. So my might is quite low in comparison to someone who would have, say, 200 plus skill points and would be the same power as me and the same CR as me. So after that series of rotations there, guys, I did some calculations and my average damage per second was 22,636. So that set of rotations was with 77 skill points, all specced into crit chance and maximising crit damage, not into any might whatsoever. Obviously fire is completely might based. Now the reason I chose fire to do these series of tests is because it's nice and bursty and it's only got a couple of dots. If I was to use something like electric, it's much more difficult to measure, and I wanted to ensure that my numbers were as accurate as possible. Now what you're looking at here is a rotation that I've done where I have used 212 skill points, and with those skill points I've spec'd them back into maximising the amount of might that I can get out of the various weapon skill point trees. Now in the previous video where I averaged about 22,000 damage per second, I had around 9,000 might. Now in this particular one, where I've added the addition of those extra skill points, I have managed to increase my statistics by about 1,000. So here I have 10,000 might, and I've done the exact same rotation. What I've done is I've selected a certain number of rotations per 10-second period, added them together, divided them by the number of rotations that I have added to give me again an average damage per second. And I was quite surprised at the results, which I'll share with you in just a moment. Now as soon as these dots die, that's when I added everything together. I did not include that as part of the rotation. So with that extra skill points, I did an average damage of 26,812. That's an increase of 18.5%. Now those of you who claim that skill points aren't giving someone advantage in game when it comes to damage or support roles or any other role for that matter, I'm afraid you're not quite right. It turns out that if you have a great deal more and it increases your statistics, you will do more damage. And I've only added 1,000 might there, and I've done an extra 18.5% damage per second. That is ludicrous. That's quite a large advantage if you have a large amount of skill points. So I know what you're all shouting at the screen right now. So why is that guy who's got the exact same CR as me out DPSing me when he's got 50 SP and I've got 250 SP? Because his power is better than yours. 9 times out of 10, that is the difference. So if they're ice, earth, sorcery, these types of powers that seem to excel at the minute in terms of damage per second, and your rage, hard light, celestial, electric, nature, any of these powers, then they're probably going to have an easier time putting out damage per second than you are. And some of the powers, despite all the advanced mechanics that are in game right now, are easier to use than some others. And some have got new mid-range buff damages as well. Some can still be at max range and do maximum damage, but others still take a fair bit of skill to do. So Rage and Celestial, for example, if you don't have good old school clipping skills, you will not match the damage per second of other powers that literally set something up and then continue pressing one button and just pointing it at the enemy. Because Fire, for example, can do similar damage with just Fire Burst and using Flame Cascade in its place. You can literally run around from max range, spam Flame Cascade and probably do just shy of the same amount of damage. So if you're any of those other powers that takes old school skill and you don't have them, you're not going to keep up. Another reason you're not going to keep up, and statistics are important now, is because you're not modding your gear. Mod your gear if you are at the top end of the game, because this video proves that your statistics, guys, are still important. So max out those mods wherever you can. I hope this video has cleared up some old misconceptions, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. We are Dark Rain, and as always, see you in game.